congratulations to Vanderbilt. Obviously, very hard fought game, and credit to them. Scored some good goals, and obviously, gave us all we could handle. And so, all the best to them moving forward. Um, Gutted for our players, as we just talked about as a team. There's a little bit of disbelief going on within our team right now. And this is the thing about the NCAA tournament. It's final. When you lose, it's over. It's over for a team forever, and it's over for seniors, college athletics forever. And so our players are feeling that right now, and that's hard. It's not easy, and as we talked about, only time can heal that. But incredibly proud of this team. Like we just told them, they're champions, and they're ACC champions. And winning an ACC championship is no easy feat, even though around these parts it's been done a lot. It's a hard thing, and especially this year in this league. So we are forever bound by that championship, and something to be incredibly proud of, and a lot of things to be proud of tonight. 29 shots is pretty respectable. 17 of those on frame. It's pretty respectable. Credit to their goalkeeper. She made 14 saves. She was phenomenal, and that is, as we say, the cruelty of this sport sometimes. So we gotta taste this, and unfortunately, we gotta taste it for a lot of months.
Questions?
Speaking of Sarah, the goalkeeper, how good was she, and how difficult is it when you do have 29 shots and you're peppering them with good opportunities, but it just doesn't happen? How tough is that for a team to swallow in real time?
Yeah, despite how good a goalkeeper is, still belief is that it's still going to happen. And obviously it did happen. It happened early, and then it happened right before halftime. And even second half, shots were 15-2 in the second half, and they scored with whatever it was, 12-ish left. And I still felt confident that we could get one, that we were going to create chances. And it wasn't until that second overtime that we really couldn't get any juice going. But some of her second and third, first and second saves were really, really special. But even the one in overtime that Suarez crossed to Duds, I'm thinking, as that ball's coming across and it's landing at Duds, I'm thinking this game's over. And there she is again. So I don't know if it got into our players' heads at all. I think there were a couple times during, whether it was an overtime break or an injury break, where our players, I think, were a little, stung a little bit emotionally, and maybe that caught up with us late. But I think, and I just said this to them, we scored 70 goals this season, right, in whatever we played, 21 games, right? So we scored a lot of goals. So I think there's a lot of belief in our team that we can score. I mean, you go back to the UNC game, right? We won 4-2 here. Their goalkeeper made 13 or 14 saves, so there's still belief. We talked about it at halftime, shoot low on this kid, and she made some saves low. She made some tip saves over the bar. She was just in his zone. And probably the scariest thing about a goalkeeper like that is you then go and you get into a penalty shootout, right? And you can see she's, dancing around in there, and, as she's probably feeling pretty good, even though she gave up 3 goals. She knows she made a lot of saves. And so in that penalty shootout, she's got a little swagger about her and a little bounce, and she made 2 good saves.
Coach, the first half was kind of back and forth. They even had a little bit more possession than you had in the first half. But the second half, you guys really put the majority of the pressure on. They had the one goal was really against the run of play. What did you do, at halftime? Did you change anything, or was that just the game to where you were able to get so much pressure, so much more pressure and possession in the second half?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of a game. The old adage, do you score too early? I don't know if that's what happened, because really, and I just said this to our team, first 5 minutes of the game, we were pretty good. Got a goal, I think, first 5 minutes?
First minute,
sorry. And we were still all over them. Could have gotten the second one, right? Third one, Sarah made some good saves. And then they got a little possession, but they scored like in the 8th or 9th or 10th minute, right? And then bang, got another one right after that. And I think we let them have the ball. Our pressure wasn't as good as it normally is. We're allowing them a lot of those entry balls into their center forwards, and their hold-up play was obviously really good. Then they were playing off of that. I thought the second half, Mimi and Cam and Gilly did a really good job of winning those entry balls, which then impacted their ability to keep the ball and then build, and therefore they couldn't really build sustained possession. And then just in general, we are at our best when we are a higher energy team. And we scored, and they cut the ball a little bit. Their forwards were in the first half. Their forwards were holding the ball up a little bit, and they got a goal. And then, we were fouling a little bit. We were frustrated. We were kind of giving the ref a hard time. We got into stuff we don't need to be doing, and we didn't defend the free kick well. But then we kept plugging away, right? And then obviously got the tying goal. And then at halftime, no, it was just, we showed some clips like we always do. We just we got to be on the front foot in everything we do. Our pressure, winning first and second balls, competing for entry balls, and then movement off the ball, changing the point, just playing Florida State soccer. And, kind of back to your question, Chris. I mean, there's 25 minutes left, and we're on them. And there's 20 left, and we're on them. 15 left. Still feeling like it's going to come. And then there's the, oh, whoa moment where there's 12 minutes left, and now we're down 3-2. And honestly, I wasn't bad. This is not arrogance. I was still confident and comfortable with our team because we have a good team. And like I said, we've scored 70 goals. And we got it back. And then when we got that goal back, we still had, I think, what did we have left? This says 9 minutes. 9 minutes left. I can't see. I thought we were gonna win the game in regulation, and then not having duds in the second overtime hurt us too, and that's, I think, part of why we had a hard time really getting anything against them. Got outshot 2-0 in that second overtime period.
You mentioned Jordan getting banged up there. Is she okay?
Yeah, she got hit in the nose and was bleeding profusely. They're worried, about her nose. And she wanted to go back in, but understandably, it's our job to protect our players. And our doctors didn't want to put her at risk like that, especially the way that kid plays. She's an animal, so we held her out, and we talked about whether or not she was going to take a penalty. But again, and sometimes you have to protect these players physically, and sometimes you have to protect them emotionally. And we thought it was in the best interest of Jordan to keep her out of the game and then keep her out of penalties.
You talked a little bit about how in the breaks the shock factor kind of set in for your players, whether it be injury or substitution. How do you kind of get that shock factor out of your players' heads? What do you say to them to bring them back into the game?
I mean, the things that you would think, we say, like, hey, we're good. If there's a tactical solve, we give them a little bit of a tactical solve. Otherwise, come on, man, the goal's coming, right? Keep doing this, keep doing that, and try and pick their spirits up, right? And get them talking a little bit more, get their energy going a little bit more. And it wasn't drastic, it wasn't terrible. It was just a little quiet, just a little quiet. And all of a sudden, and that's sometimes what single elimination does to you. We talk all the time about just playing and eliminating every single distraction possible, and playing with a freedom and a fierceness, right? That is difficult to deal with. But then anytime you start, scary thoughts start creeping in the brain, right? No matter how old we are, no matter what walk of life we're talking about, we all have scary thoughts that creep in the brain, and those are just nothing short of distractions, right? And so maybe they had some scary thoughts. Whoa, what's going on here, right? Is this happening, right? And maybe I'm misreading, right? But it was just quiet, and I understand that, right? I understand that. There's a lot at stake, right? And you look at the second half of the ACC championship, there was none of that. It was just all energy and determination, focus. We're winning a championship, right? And there was most of that. At times it was just a little quiet.
Anything else? One more?
One more. Coach, in the first half, it seemed like number 15, Sydney Watts, she was doing really good holding the ball up and causing you problems as far as, initiating their offense. And then the second half, it seemed like we didn't really hear from her. Is that something where you just, in the halftime, kind of made some adjustments and said we need to buckle down on this? Or
yeah, I think some of it is mentality and some of it is tactical or technical. We were allowing them to post up on us in the first half. And Watts wasn't the only one. At times, Eggleston was doing the same, right? Even Dureski on her goal, right? Kind of received the ball back to pressure, spun inside and shot. And so we were a little passive, right? Allowing that. So what we talked about was you gotta be ball side of her, right? Putting yourself in a position where you can jump the entry ball, right? And if you can't, then you're behind her and you can't be riding her with your body, right? You gotta be touch tight, right? In a position to where if she does try and turn you, you can adjust and react. So yeah, we talked about that kind of normal stuff, putting yourself in a position to win the entry ball as opposed to just letting them back us down. And obviously we responded and did a great job with it.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about the program and where you're going to go from here? I mean, you've got a roster that's loaded with talent, obviously, and then you've got a recruiting class with a ton of 5 stars and everything coming in. Where do you think you're going to go from here as far as, next year moving on? I know this is like kind of an unfair question because you just had this happen, but
yeah, obviously, and I said this to somebody the other day, 2.5 years ago when we got here, my metaphor or analogy, I don't know which is the proper word there, was treadmill, right? And the Florida State soccer treadmill, people were wondering, is the treadmill gonna move, right? Post Mark Krikorian, or is it not? And we won that fall, and then we won last fall, and we still won this fall, right? Obviously, we fell short of this national championship college cup goal, and that's devastating, but we're ACC champions. And I said the other day that we have a lot of good players here. We have a lot of good players returning. We have a lot of good players coming. And so the treadmill's moving, right? And it's moving at a good speed, and we are in very good shape. Unfortunately, we were in good shape to compete for a national championship this fall. It's not going to happen, but we are in very good shape moving forward. And I think, honestly, our foot is not off the gas. We're going to keep pushing to get more good players in 25 and 26 and beyond.